Peppa Pig is about to get very different in 2026, and it's not in a small way. 2026 is turning up with a suitcase full of new characters and zero explanations. Let's see who's showing up first. Suzy Sheep's dad. If Peppa Pig is adding new characters in 2026, then let's not pretend we don't know who's top of the list. Suzy Sheep's dad. The man has avoided the camera for over 20 years. Every other parent shows up for school runs, parties, trips, and muddy puddle emergencies. But Suzy's dad, absolute master of social distancing. And that only works for so long. Because the Sheep family expansion has begun, Granny Sheep moving in is basically the show putting up a sign that says, "Clear some space." Which means extra adults, extra screen time, and extra reasons for this family to suddenly matter again. So if 2026 is about introducing new characters, bringing back Suzy Sheep's dad is the easiest win imaginable. No redesigns, just finally acknowledging the elephant, sorry, sheep, in the room. And once the show opens that door, it suddenly explains why Suzy might be getting some siblings in the new year too. Suzy Sheep's new siblings. So once you accept that Suzy Sheep's dad might be making a comeback, there's an awkward follow-up question the show immediately creates. Where did this other sheep come from? Because in the episode Sibling School, right there among Peppa and George, sits a boy sheep, calm, casual, and acting like he hasn't just shattered 20 years of Peppa Pig lore. A male sheep in a classroom, no explanation, and it gets better. Sibling School isn't just any class, it's literally for kids whose families are expecting new babies. That's the entire point of the episode, learning how to be gentle, how to help, how to not immediately sit on the baby. So if this boy sheep is there, he's not just popping in for story time, he's there for a reason, and either he's already part of Suzy's family, a brother who's been quietly off screen this whole time, or the sheep household is about to change again, and someone's clearly preparing for baby number whatever this is. Either way, Peppa Pig isn't being subtle. A new boy sheep is coming in 2026, and a baby already warming up backstage. The Rabbit Children. Now let's talk about the family the show never stops expanding. The Rabbits. Because if you watch the Sibling School episode closely, you'll notice Rebecca and Richard Rabbit sitting right there in the classroom, learning all about how to deal with a new baby. And that's important because the Rabbits just had twins. Rosie and Robbie Rabbit arrived not that long ago, which already put Mummy Rabbit in hands full forever territory. So naturally, Peppa Pig hints at the most rabbit-accurate outcome possible: more rabbit babies. Because this show has never been subtle about one thing: rabbits multiply. So when both Rebecca and Richard show up in Sibling School, it doesn't feel random. It feels like the writers are quietly saying, yes, this family again. And it makes even more sense when you look ahead. Baby Evie is growing up, and the timing lines up for Rosie and Robbie Rabbit. They're around the same age as her, they're already on screen, and Peppa Pig loves setting up ready-made friend groups instead of inventing them later. A new rabbit baby would slot straight into that generation, growing up alongside the twins, and naturally crossing paths with Evie as that group ages together. So if the new year brings more babies, don't look shocked, just look at the rabbits. Daddy Pig's parents. Now let's talk about two characters who aren't missing anymore. They're overdue. Daddy Pig's parents. They absolutely exist, that's not up for debate. Because we've seen Daddy Pig as a child at school, in this town, which means two adult pigs were clearly around doing the whole parenting thing. And yet, they've never shown up, not once. Who has shown up instead is Grandpa Pig, who has quietly been doing their job for years. Building things, fixing disasters, teaching George how stuff works. Basically acting like the default dad in Daddy Pig's life. At some point, that stops being wholesome and starts being suspicious. What makes this feel especially deliberate is the total silence. There's no explanation that they live far away, no joke about them visiting soon, and not even a vague background photo doing the bare minimum to acknowledge their existence. That's not forgetfulness, that's avoidance. So why would now, the new year, suddenly be the moment they return? Simple. The show has just added a new baby, reshuffled family roles, and pushed Daddy Pig further into the spotlight than ever. And if there's one thing Peppa Pig loves doing, it's bringing in grandparents right when a new baby has entered the chat. If Daddy Pig's parents walked back into the story now, it wouldn't just clear up a mystery. It would explain why Daddy Pig is the way he is. The nerves, the fear of heights, and the overconfidence that always feels like it's covering something would finally have context. And with the show already reshuffling its world, this year feels like the only time a reveal like that would actually make sense. Aunt Dottie's husband. Now let's talk about Aunt Dottie. The pig family member who lives abroad, sends letters and gifts, and somehow avoids being fully explained. Because here's the thing, Aunt Dottie doesn't have to be married. Peppa Pig has never said she is, but the longer she stays off screen, the more it starts to feel like something's missing. Living abroad is a big move in Peppa Pig. Characters don't just pack up and disappear for no reason, and when someone does, the show usually gives us a why, a job, a family, someone important, and that's where the mystery kicks in. If Aunt Dottie does have a husband overseas, it explains why she stayed away for so long, and why she was never casually part of everyday pig family life. Now here's the important part. Aunt Dottie is due for a visit, and when she finally turns up again, she's very unlikely to arrive alone. Because Peppa Pig doesn't bring characters back without context. If Aunt Dottie returns, the show will almost certainly explain why she lives abroad, and that explanation is very likely standing right next to her. Carol Cow. If Peppa Pig is lining up new characters for 2026, there's one name that makes way more sense than people realize. Carol Cow. And the reason she hasn't been introduced properly yet? Because she's technically already here. Carol Cow is Mrs. Cow's daughter, and later Mr. Bull's stepdaughter. And she's been quietly floating around the show for years like an NPC that never got unlocked. Her first big clue comes in the episode Mr. Potato's Christmas Show. While Peppa's class arrives together on the bus, Claire is already inside the theater, sitting with completely different kids, which immediately tells us two things. 1, she exists. 2, she does not go to Madame Gazelle's school. After that, she keeps reappearing in the background, in episodes like London, The Perfect Day, even walking into the shopping center with Mr. Bull, like the show is reminding us, yes, she's still canon. And then comes the moment that gives the whole thing away. Mrs. Cow's Wedding, a huge 3-part episode that the show put real focus on, and suddenly Carol Cow, her own daughter, is missing entirely. Not because she doesn't matter, but because her proper introduction was delayed. Behind the scenes, Carol was meant to debut fully in season 7. She had planned appearances, she even had merchandise printed, but her episode was cut at the last minute and her character was quietly parked in the background instead. Which is exactly why she suddenly makes sense now. With the show shifting focus to younger siblings, new dynamics, and slightly older kids sitting just outside Peppa's class, Claire Cow is the easiest character in the world to bring forward in 2026. She doesn't need a redesign or backstory, she just needs the camera to finally stop ignoring her. The King of England. This one isn't a theory, it's just reality catching up. The Queen appeared in Peppa Pig more than once. She spoke, she waved, she jumped in muddy puddles with Peppa. She was a real character in the show. But in real life, the Queen passed away, and Peppa Pig didn't ignore it. The official account even posted a tribute, quietly acknowledging that she was gone in the Peppa universe too. So here's the part that matters. If Peppa ever goes back to London again, the Queen can't be there, which means the King has to be. This isn't about inventing a new storyline, it's about replacing an existing role. Same palace, same visit, same setup, different person on the balcony. So if we're talking about new characters that feel locked in for 2026, this is the safest bet of all. Not a mystery, not a twist, just the show updating itself and carrying on. So as we head into the new year, it really feels like Peppa Pig is lining up lots of new characters. Parents, siblings, cousins, kings, they don't tease this many doors unless they're about to start opening them. The question isn't if these characters are coming, it's which one shows up first. So let us know in the comments, who do you think we're meeting next? And if you want more Peppa Pig theories, hidden details, and things the show definitely wants you to notice, check out our other videos on the channel. We'll see you in the next one.